It must be pleasing to know after all these years you can still create enough interest to fill the Albert Hall.
Yeah, well, I think we can fill more than the Albert Hall, probably. It's funny, when I was driving up here to this interview today, this builder went, "Oh, it's Jon Moss, hey, mate, how are you?" And it's like I get recognised all the time, which isn't bad for 45, you know. I think the thing is that George used to worry about the Culture Club being an 80s revival band. And it's not like that. I mean, Culture Club it's a totally unique thing. And that's what a lot of the reviews actually, it was very exciting reading the reviews from the Albert Hall, which is quite a mixed show. But they were saying that Culture Club used to be, what's the word? They used to be rebellious in a way. They used to look rebellious, whatever the word is. But now they just look surreal. And they actually said you don't think of the 80s because the songs sound as if they're brand new now. I mean, that's what's weird, because I played those songs so many times and I enjoy playing them. Every time we play them, I enjoy it. Unless we've been on tour for 3 months in America, which you don't like anything other than that. But every time we play those songs, it's like playing them for the first time.
What do you think the appeal is of playing the Albert Hall?
I don't know really. Well, it's got a sort of cachet, hasn't it? When I say to people we're playing the Albert Hall, they go, "Wow!" I mean, it's quite nice if you do a one-off gig. It's an event at the Albert Hall. If you were doing a sort of Dominion or something, it wouldn't be quite the same. But the only trouble with the Albert Hall is that if you have seats right up the top, I mean, so my family solicitor came with his family, and I got a phone call backstage saying he thanks for the seats, but he can't have them as he gets vertigo. So I don't know if you ever sat at the top of the Albert Hall. So but it's a nice event. It's a nice place to go. It's nice.
So what do you think the big attraction of Culture Club is after 20 years?
What, for me or for no, for everybody?
For the public, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I got friends who've got children my age and my children who are 5 years old, and they love Culture Club. They sing the songs. I know, on my amazement, I know 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids who've never heard of Culture Club, but they say, "Oh, I saw you on telly, and I bought your record, and it's great." And this is an old record, not like a modern record, not with a modern production on it or anything like that. Although, so it does seem to. I mean, I think the thing about Culture Club is that it's so eclectic. The band's so eclectic. I mean, they've got Karma Chameleon, which does drive us mad, but it's such a great song. Though it is a great song, but it does drive you mad because it is like a sort of a nursery rhyme in a way. And then you've got the reggae, and then you've got some quite sort of dark stuff, and you've got Victims. So it's a very eclectic musically. And so it does go right across the board.
Do you still have the same enjoyment and enthusiasm for playing?
Oh yeah, I love performing. I miss it. I mean, I can't really do anything else. That's the trouble. I mean, I write, and I do a bit of, I do other things for money, financial things, a bit of property stuff like that, only a bit. But unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, but the only thing I love doing is playing. I mean, honestly, really, if I don't play, I do get very depressed. I do. It's like there's a hole in my life. I don't care what's going on, as long as I'm playing live. Yeah. Can be in a club or anything. Playing drums specifically.
Now, was it true you started your musical career as a punk?
No, I didn't start as a punk. I actually, what happened, I was brought up in the 70s, and I was brought up in sort of Slade and the Bay City Rollers and stuff like that, but also with progressive rock, which was all right. But then you got the other stuff when it started going to the sort of jazz funk thing. So I actually started by going to auditions with a Ringo kit, a 3-piece drum kit, and not even getting an audition because I didn't have 17 drums. They used to watch me set them up and go, "Well, where's the rest?" As a consequence of that, because I couldn't stand that attitude, when punk came along, first of all, like everybody else, I said, "This is really horrible." But suddenly, you realise it gave you an opportunity to play. It was great, and people just said, "Come on, yeah, fine." It was minimal. So, yeah, after all that, yeah, I was a punk. I started with the Clash.
You were responsible for putting Culture Club together. How did you first meet George?
Well, funny enough, actually, George had met Mikey first, and I had been around George for quite a long time due to the punk scene. There's quite a small scene in London, and George has seen me, and I see. The only thing about George, I've seen him a lot of times, but he looked completely different. Every time, one time he had a blue and yellow face, and another time he was dressed as a nun, and you had to meet him 4 times to realise it was the same person, basically. Master of disguise. I knew Kirk, and I lived in a squat in Totteridge where I had a band, and Kirk came up one day and sang there, and there was a guy called Terry Razor. I don't know his real name.
Terry Razor.
Scottish boy, Terry Razor. His name was. I think actually was his real name. Anyway, as it transpired, I knew Malcolm McLaren, and Malcolm McLaren wanted to have George as Lieutenant Lush and kick out whatever her name was. Sorry, can't remember. And I got a call from Terry Razor saying that George was forming his own band, and that's how we got together. And when I went down to this rehearsal studio in Borough, he was there with Mikey. And there was a guy called Suede, a guitarist, who was a lovely bloke. Sorry.
And how did the rehearsals go? I mean, that first rehearsal, did you feel that there was definitely something here?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in a normal situation, I walked in and walked straight out again because it was hideous. You know, it was in this old sort of costume place, and it was not. I mean, I'm not really into that sort of faded sort of backstage theatre thing. It's not my scene. Victorian dolls and that. Not
Right.
if you know what I mean. You know, the smell of the grease paint I don't like. So the place was a bit spooked me out a bit, and then George was there, and he just had. I mean, I just knew straight away. There was nothing there. I mean, to be honest with you, they had one song called Mask or something. I mean, there was nothing there. I mean, it wasn't like what a great band, what great music, but it was just George. I mean, George was, you know,
So the chemistry just felt right?
definitely. I mean, you know, when you know you're in the presence of a star,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you can be in the presence of a nutcase. But there's a very, I mean, no, I mean, George is both, obviously, but it's very rarely that you're in the presence of someone. I mean, having been in bands and known, do you know what I mean? You be around people, you just know, and as you see people like make it, you just know. And with George, he just had, and he's still got it. I mean, he's just got that. He just had that charisma. But then he had that charisma, and I don't know why. It's just there was something there.
Now, when you arrived on the music scene in the early 80s, you seemed confident in knowing exactly how to promote yourselves. I mean, how did you know that at such an early age?
Well, I don't know really. I mean, I did my A levels at school very, very early because it was when my birthday is, and I didn't go to university. And I went out, and the first job I got was in the Marquee Recording Studios. I wrote about 300 letters. I don't know what I know. I wanted to play, but so having been through that, and then been through a few bands and had contracts, the penny sort of dropped quite quickly, and I knew what I wanted to do. Or what I mean, I was like pop music mixed with everything else. Where at the time, most people were still saying that they wouldn't sacrifice their music for commerciality, and there's all that rubbish, you know, basing. I really actually just said, look, anybody want to form a band where we can play reggae and where we can play any music we want, and that seemed to happen with Culture Club. And, I mean, George was obviously responsible for the image. I mean, George was like he was our secret weapon, but he did want to call himself Papa George originally, which is not good. And then he had extensions put in. Then I got him the hat, which is actually a Hasidic Jewish hat from Belmondo Hats in Temple Fortune.
So it was your idea for the hat?
It was my idea for the hat, yes. I created him. I made him Jewish.
Which of the Culture Club singles do you think have endured the best musically?
What, in the public eye?
Yeah.
Probably Karma Chameleon.
Karma Chameleon.
But it's funny though, because you meet people. I mean, the ones Victims, even though it wasn't a number one hit, but Victims is a really, really popular one. Church of the Poison Mind. Do you really want to? I mean, really, basically, most of the sort of the big hits, you know. But I would say Karma Chameleon is probably the one that, you know, won't go away, thank God.
But which of the records are you particularly proud of?
I think Just Want to Be Loved, which was the last hit we had recently, which I think is a great record. Victims is a great record. Do You Really is a great record. I mean, Karma Chameleon is a great record. I don't know really. I mean, I really like Church of the Poison Mind because I always wanted to do it. That was quite authentic Motown. I mean, it's not quite as I would have wanted it to be. I would have liked it to be a bit harder, but